Most books are symbol books. They tell you what your dream means. You look up your symbol and then oh, that's what it means, and then it's meaningless to you. It's meaningless that way. Symbol books, they all should be burned. I'm serious. They all should be burned because they're work against your best interest. You're an unique individual with your own history. Why would you look up a symbol that's written for maybe somebody else? In my workshops and trainings, I give everybody the picture of an apple. And all I say is write about the apple. Every single person in that room writes something different. And I think I give them that exercise to show them that how unique they are. And then they all listen to each other's story about the apple and they're, oh my God, how different could it be? And that helps them understand their own uniqueness. People have a tendency to almost, I think, we get typecast by society and then we wind up typecasting ourselves, which works against, our own life purpose and spirituality. It's all about personal growth and development. Finding your purpose, loving it, embracing it, making your life rich and fulfilling. Finding the primary symbol in a dream, and that's usually very, very easy. It's the one that has the most energy or the one that is the most striking or something about it calls to you. And then from that point on, it's up to you to make the associations with the primary symbol. Now I talk about archetypes because often the primary symbol can be a person. I talk about the nature of archetypes, what happens, when an archetype appears in your dream, how can you make associations with that? A lot of times my father was in my dream. I said, well, okay, let's pretend it's an authority figure. It's not necessarily your father. How would the dream shift for you if it was, I dream of an authority figure? Because often it's not the father, it's an authority figure, and the father represents authority. So those kinds of things, to take a bigger picture of your dream, one that has archetypes, one that, because you have a collective unconscious, you are plugged into the rest of the world. Everybody knows this, but we don't know what to do with it. And my book is telling you what to do with it. Here's what you do. You massage the hell out of that primary symbol. You make all kinds of associations with it. The more you work on it, the more it's going to come up from your unconscious because you're stimulating your unconscious. When you journal about your dream, guess what? The journaling starts to get a life of its own. Suddenly you're writing things you never even thought about. And all these methods are designed or created by many, many people in my field to stimulate, memory, to help you make sense of things that are confusing and challenging. I've been married 3 times. What's up with that? They all seem to be the same kind of woman. Why do you think I do that? Said, I don't know, but you do. And let's help you find out. And then we work with that archetype, that kind of woman. Whatever kind she is. I mean, there's 5 or 6. And, take a look at that. Let's pretend it's an archetype. The seductress, the mother, the goddess, the maiden. These are all archetypes. Gee, all my wives were kind of, really needed me. They were kind of like, really childish in a way. They've been marrying maidens. Let's go look at maidens. And then look at why you're choosing maidens. How did that serve you? These are all questions for the dreamer, not for me. I just ask them. And I'm pretty good at asking the right questions. And I perfected this method so people can, if they're willing to do the work, and this is the caveat, if you're willing to do the work. Matter of fact, I say in my book, this book is dedicated to you, to the wayfarer who's taking the road less traveled, the road to the far shore, who's willing to do the work. The book is a communication within, not a communication without. I mean, you can go to all the websites you want. You can buy all the symbol books you want. You're still going outside of yourself. And the answers are within. And I see it all the time. I'm probably the least popular person on almost all the dream pages on Facebook and everything. Because somebody will say, I had this dream, and they post the dream, and 20 people immediately tell them what it means. And I say, my question always is, well, what do you think it means? Because the person has to actually think instead of just run and ask somebody else. You know, we're kind of programmed to be a little bit, we'll take the easy route. We'll take the river that flows, and, we're not going to dig a new trench. But, if you want to be more, if you want to live life to the fullest, then you have to do some work. You have to dig that trench. Einstein once said, if you know something well enough, you can say it simply. And I know it well enough to say it simply, and that's what my book is about. It's about communicating on a level that everybody can understand, and they will still get it. It's not, I don't have to give them all these elaborate theories and methodologies and all these things from everybody in the past. I don't need to do that, because I've distilled it all, and then I transformed it. I'm an alchemist in a way. I've distilled all this information and transformed it and fed it back to people. I want those 9 billion, 7 billion, I think 7, might be 9 by now, 7 billion people to get it. To get it, to know that everything of value, of true value, is within them. I often start most of my client work with self-identity, because people come in and I ask them some very simple questions about their life and they can't answer them. And then I realize, you know what? They're still living the childhood role. The survivor, the trauma survivor, and they haven't moved past that. You can't move into your true self unless you've healed. So a lot of the work is, okay, well, who am I? I'm not the survivor. If you're still living your survivor role, then you're not living. You're surviving. So it's very important to work on your self-identity. A lot of people aren't in touch with their feelings. Well, I say, how did you feel about that? And they look at me like, I don't know. And I'll say, okay, you've got primary feelings. Write them down. You're either mad, glad, scared, or sad. They write them down, literally. And then we talk about the nuances. Well, are you mad? Are you furious? Or are you annoyed? There's ranges to every feeling. And part of life is getting in touch with your feelings and understanding the nuances. She made me furious. Or, boy, was that annoying. There's a whole different energy around it. People say, well, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? I said, well, it's not for me. And they look at me and say, how do you know it's not for you? I said, I know. That's one of the things I learned on my journey. What works for me and what doesn't work for me. And often it's about what doesn't work. We learn that first. I could tell you a million stories about that. So we get through the childhood trauma. We get into the beginning of self-identity. We work and work and work, and suddenly we get rewarded. Suddenly we feel better about ourselves. we become our own best friends. Suddenly our intuition and our feelings is important. And this is really important for women, very important for women. You've got to pay attention to your intuition and your feelings. Men can be very predatory. So we want to do that. We want to say, okay, this doesn't feel right. If you're saying this doesn't feel right, guess what? It doesn't feel right. It's not right. You don't have to even figure out why. You just have to walk away from whatever the situation is. So getting in touch with your feelings, understanding times, okay, here's who I am, here's who I'm not. I'm perfectly happy, shadow and all. I know my shadow well. In a way, it served me well. But do I live my shadow? No. Do I project it on other people? Not anymore. But this is all learning.